Fox Sports.
We are Buckford. We are Florida.
Day 3 here in Philly for the Fish. Off day Monday, double dip yesterday, and a sweep. The Marlins are hot. They've won 9 of 11. They keep creeping up in the National League wild card, and yeah, the Fanatic is back at it. Somebody's gonna get his keys. I just know it. Hi, everybody. Rich Welts along with Todd Hollingsworth. Really nice night and day yesterday for the Marlins, winning a doubleheader against the Phillies. A lot of momentum, and this ball club has arrived at 500, which is a pretty nice accomplishment.
Well, never easy to do when you think of yesterday and the doubleheader sweep, but the offense is rolling, and it has been rolling for quite some time, really taking a lot of pressure off the starting pitching in that bullpen down there, playing with the lead. We've talked about it an awful lot over the last 11 or so games, and again, they keep jumping out, getting those leads, letting the starting pitching kind of do its thing, and then turning it over to a bullpen, an unheralded bullpen that's been doing a pretty nice job.
There was a mess of home runs yesterday, and the Marlins, just like you noted, jumped out in front, 12-8 and 7-4. First doubleheader sweep since here in Philly. The Marlins at 6 homers. That's a new club record. Extra base hits galore. Christian Yelich 4 runs, drove in 5. Ozuna homered in both ball games.
Well, it feels like the long ball is always the conversation when it comes to the Marlins, probably because of Giancarlo Stanton. He's been ripping the cover off the baseball, did again yesterday. Marcell Ozuna homered as well. But here's the thing. They actually were out-homered by the Philadelphia Phillies yesterday, and it tells you how good that offense has been rolling. They scored in other ways, had a lot of doubles in the game, a lot of big base hits as well as they win both of those games. So again, they don't always have to use the home run ball to win baseball games.
It's tough to sweep a doubleheader, especially on the road. The Marlins did that yesterday. It's really tough to sweep a 4-gamer. Marlins will go about trying to win Game 3 here tonight. It's Phillies, it's Fish. We'll set up the pitchers, we'll give you the lineups, and then we're rolling, kids. Jeep Compass by GMC. We are professional grade. By your local Toyota dealers, let's go places. And by Southwest, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. In Philadelphia, the Fanatic guarding the Fanatic Mobile. Justin Nicolino glances his way. Yeah, Fanatic's got a sore arm. I think he had labrum surgery last year. Miami's lineup looks this way. D. Gordon's in the leadoff spot. Southwest brings it to you. They were electric last night where Gordon, Stanton, Yelich, Ozuna, Real, Muto, Dietrich. Tomas Talis is at first. Miguel Rojas had some big at-bats in game one last night. He's at short, and Justin Nicolino's in the 9 spots.
All right, time for that Mark Leiter Auto Nation scouting report. Mark Leiter Jr., we'll get to that, 6 foot, 195 pounds, 26 years old, son of Mark, that's right, nephew of Al Leiter. All right, window of opportunity. Looks like it's appeared open. It's wide open for him. Phillies have made some trades, and Vince Velasquez, he's now on the disabled list for the rest of the season. So for Mark Leiter, he's got an opportunity to really establish himself in this rotation. He's making his 5th start of the season for 2.2 ERA, like father, like son. Get this, here's the arsenal. I'm going to give it to you early. Any pitch, any count, 4-seam, 2-seam, cutter, splitter, changeup, curveball, slider. Rich, did you get all that? I hope you did. We'll get to it again. Last time out, not so good versus San Diego. 5 innings, 8 runs, 4 earned, 7 hits, 3 walks. He's only pitched to the 6th inning 1 time in those 4 starts. So it's a real good opportunity for the Marlins to jump out offensively again tonight.
I was told there'd be no math.
Sorry, a lot of pitches. Trying to keep track. Big number there. Hoskins, Williams, Florimon gets the start in right field. Franco, Galvis, Hernandez, Joseph. Had a nice day yesterday. Alfaro behind the plate. He's got an 8-game hitting streak along with Leiter Jr. on the mound.
It was a slugfest here. I mean, the Marlins hit 6 homers, the Phillies hit 8. And Giancarlo Stanton on his way out to the on-deck circle. Some fist bumps. Now, there was no batting practice for the Marlins. There were a couple of hitters that came out to hit, including the gun show. Giancarlo Stanton with the Freddie Gonzalez. Stanton not happy with the 3 strikeouts in game 2. He was 1 for 5 in the nightcap last night after going 2 for 5 with an RBI double and a solo homer in game 1. And of all the home runs last night, were there 14 of them in the ball game? To me, the most impressive, the Ichiro 3-run pinch hit blast, 436 feet to right center field.
He did confirm to us after the ball game as we were leaving and trying to beat the rain that he did get all of it.
D. Gordon in the box. Leiter throws a strike. Comes back with a good running fastball. He counts 0-2. Gordon's hit in 4 straight. 3 hits in the doubleheader yesterday. Scored 3 runs. His on-base hits at 332. And he, of course, has been part of this unlikely combination. The speed in the leadoff spot and thunder in the 2 spot once Stanton moved into the 2nd spot in the order. Mark Leiter Jr., 26-year-old, Toms River, New Jersey, home to everything Leiter, right?
Correct.
The Leiter brothers, Mark and Al. Great history of Little League there.
Leiter has it all. Quite an arsenal. Certainly explains how he gets after it. I talk about patterns all the time that hitters are looking for. You see him pre-setting a split finger grip in his glove. That's what he's digging in there for. Doesn't mean he's going to throw it, but he definitely wants to set it up to begin with. Looks like he will throw it.
And he threw a good one, and he strikes out Gordon. And so here's Stanton now. While a lot of people were pulling their home runs, Stanton, after pulling an RBI double, did this.
Now, this wasn't the farthest home run yesterday. It wasn't the most majestic. It didn't, scrape the light towers. But I'll tell you what, the sequencing, the game plan that led to that home run certainly was impressive to see. He was, I'll use the words, kind of owned his second at bat with the 2-seam fastball. Went up there looking for it in that at bat, got it, and didn't miss it.
See the numbers for Stanton: 46 homers, an RBI shy of 100. Leiter comes in with a fastball. after getting a strike on the first pitch fastball. Red hot in August, 13 homers in the month of August. And there's still a week to go. He cranks that one wide of third. The count's 1-2.
Well, he's reached in 27 consecutive ball games, 16 homers, 34 RBIs, a .463 on base percentage.
And if I'm coaching third base, I'm probably even deeper and further out than Freddie Gonzalez right now. That's a smart man. He stayed fastball, and the count goes 2-2.
I'll anticipate Leiter moving the ball around the strike zone. That is his game plan. He's not going to challenge hitters out over the plate too much. Only possesses 90, 91, 92 miles an hour on any of his fastballs.
Got him. And so Mark Leiter Jr. comes out, punches out 2 to start this ball game. Here comes Christian Yelich.
Well, this is the slider. As we told you, Leiter will throw anything at any time. You see him kind of getting on top of it and really trying to pull down. Not a bad pitch. Carlos Stanton's timing just off a bit. 85 miles an hour on that slider.
Yelich takes down low. Good day for Yelich yesterday. All told, in the doubleheader, he drove in 5, 2 doubles, a homer, and 4 hits.
He's got 7 RBIs over his last 3 games.
Yelich rolls it out to second base. Hernandez on to first. And Mark Leiter Jr. goes 1-2-3. Justin Nicolino gets it next. Driven by GMC. Marlins and Phillies. The Wissahickon Creek. Christian Roberts, our director, spent all day at the Wissahickon Creek just waiting for that one shot, and he captured it beautifully. Lineup for the Phillies: Cesar Hernandez, a switch-hitting second baseman, digging in. He's followed by a switch-hitting shortstop, Freddie Galvis. Nick Williams has had a nice start to his big league career this year. Rhys Hoskins has as well. He's popped 6 homers in 45 at-bats. Tommy Joseph homered yesterday. Kyle Franco, Pedro Florimon, Jorge Alfaro, and Mark Leiter Jr. completes the Phillies lineup. Justin Nicolino gets strike 1.
Well, let's take a look at his numbers this season. Pretty good stuff. That ERA continues to drop. 2.28 ERA over 4 career starts versus the Philadelphia Phillies. Good numbers there. He's been pitching the ball well since coming back from AAA. 1.74 ERA, and he's 2-0, including picking up a win his last time out. 5 solid innings against the Mets. Nicolino,
when he went down to AAA, ripped off 9 really nice starts. had an ERA of under 2 and almost a change in approach, trying to be much more aggressive and a lot less fine. Rojas on over to first in time. Nicolino has a ground ball out to start the night here in the bottom of the first. Brings up Freddie Galvis. Nick Williams will follow. Here's Miami's defense behind Nicolino tonight.
Well, it's one you're quite familiar with, Marlins fans. Ozuna, Yelich, Stanton. Dietrich gets to start third base. Rojas, Gordon, Talise back in over at first. Real Muto, Nicolino on the mound. Nicolino has been outstanding. He's really showed ownership over the lower half of the strike zone. He's climbed vertically at times. Some swings and misses up top and even some ground balls. You mentioned that aggressiveness, Rich. That's the one thing that really stands out. All 4 of his pitches really working well. The fastball, the cutter, curveball, and change, and mixing it.
Even Nicolino said in his own words when he arrived back in the big leagues that he found that the change to being aggressive with his stuff rather than trying to nibble, trying to fool hitters, trying to work on the edges, wasn't getting it done. That one stroked into the seats, a foul ball.
Well, it's an interesting conversation for most when they say they want to be more aggressive. Usually it's a conversation that starts with the fastball and goes from there because they're going to throw that pitch more than any other. But for Nicolino, who's got an assortment of pitches and doesn't overpower hitters, it included his changeup, it included his curveball, it included his cutter is part of that aggressiveness.
Another bouncer for Rojas. Another ground ball out for Nicolino. A pair of 6-3s in the books. And here comes Nick Williams, who's been impressive to watch. Marlins have seen him in parts of 2 series. And this youngster who's been in 45 games now for the Phillies with his glove and with his bat. Looks like he could be a really nice player.
Well, robbed of a second home run yesterday by Christian Yelich. So, yes, he did have a homer, 350 on the season versus the Marlins. Major run producer so far. 25 RBIs in 35 games since the All-Star break.
Williams, a 23-year-old, and one of the key pieces the Phillies got back in the Cole Hamels trade. Continued to climb up in the Phillies minor league ladder. And arrives this year in a year, obviously a full-blown rebuilding season for the Phillies, which is what last season was as well. Opportunities for a lot of guys, and he's taking advantage of it.
Well, on all levels, he's climbed up in the batting order. Last time the Marlins saw him, he was hitting in the 6-7 spot. Now he's the 3-hole hitter, and he's proven to be trustworthy against lefties and righties. Good numbers against the lefties, hitting over 280.
Fouls it at the plate. Now, all the carnage yesterday at the plate, and I'm talking about home runs, that's from a pitcher's perspective. There were 14 home runs, and Williams had the longest, 445 feet. Second longest, Marcell Ozuna 439, Yelich 437, Ichiro 432. The shortest home run yesterday, Stanton 346. Up the middle into center field, and Williams has got a hit.
Well, the best part of that conversation is they all count the same. Ichiro's was just as important as Stanton's, and I'm sure the Phillies would think that Nick Williams' home run was just as important as well. In fact, the Phillies hit 8 of them yesterday. One reprieve in all of it was the fact that 5 of them were solo home runs, so damage was minimized.
And you'll hear me tonight say, well, this guy homered yesterday.
Right.
And this guy homered yesterday.
I should have just recorded you before the game and saved your breath.
Well, this guy did homer yesterday, Rhys Hoskins. Hoskins takes up. Hoskins has had just a mercurial start to his major league career. 45 at bats. And now 6 home runs. And they've all come in the last 10 days, as you saw. He had 2 on Sunday against the Giants. This was against Dan Straley. This is the one that hit the top of the wall, then off the bush. It was called a double initially, and then upon review, it was ruled a home run.
Well, if he were to hit the same ball today, I don't believe there would be any kind of confusion. As you can tell, the bushes have been trimmed.
Yeah, there was a gentleman, a plainclothes individual out there at about 5:30 taking photos of the said bushes. And I'm sure they were sending it to either Major League Baseball, the umpiring center, or an arborist. Not sure which. 3-0 pitch. And a strike from Nicolino.
I don't think there was a whole lot of confusion yesterday. Once this, able to go back to the replay and see that hit the wall and obviously bounced over, but it looks different today. I'm blaming it on that home run.
Not a ball in hand, but a ball in the bush.
Correct. A nice pitch by Nicolino. 3-0 changeup right there. See with Hoskins, he's got that leg kick. He gets it up early, and his timing has got to be good. That front foot doesn't count. He can't start his hands forward until the front foot hits. And if you can throw a good changeup for a strike, you might be able to get Hoskins off balance.
All right, with a full count and 2 outs, Williams is going to scoot from first. And Nicolino misses up with a fastball. And one of the few guys that homered twice comes to the plate. There were 3 guys that had 2 homers yesterday. Tommy Joseph was one of those. Andres Blanco hit a couple. Marcell Ozuna homered twice for Miami. And Joseph was in a nasty skid before yesterday's doubleheader, so he feels pretty good as he climbs in the box right now.
In his last 3 games versus the Marlins, he's 6 for 14 with a couple of home runs, as you mentioned. Seems to find his stroke against the Fish.
This is one of the best nights, weather-wise, we have seen all season long.
You know why? That nasty storm we saw last night at about midnight, right?
That was the other story last night, the second game. The Marlins raced to get that last out before the deluge.
Rumor has it there were cars underwater on the interstate here. So much rain so fast. But usually what ends up happening, as it does in South Florida, you get one of those crazy storms coming, it cools off for a little period of time. That's what today feels like. Beautiful day.
Police Athletic League kids, before the ball game, there was a celebrity softball game. The local television personalities here in Philadelphia versus the radio and print personalities. That one popped foul and out of play. So it was a lot like Philadelphia's version of Weatherman, or excuse me, Anchorman, with weathermen and weather people, Spanish TV, PBS. And then you had the talk show hosts, the radio talk show hosts, a lot of the sports talk show hosts for Philadelphia making up the other team. A lot of arguing with that team going on. That's a liner to left. Ozuna can't get it. It bangs off the wall and bounces over his head. Williams around third, and he arrives at home. A line drive double by Tommy Joseph, and somebody has given Tommy Joseph his wake-up call, and it started yesterday in the first game of the doubleheader.
Well, I think the answer to that is the Marlins. He's hit them well all season long and certainly found his stroke. He's been hitting the ball very, very well here. Citizens Bank Ballpark, certainly against the Marlins over the last 3 games. That a rocket over Marcell Ozuna's head. Really no shot at catching it. Ball hit so hard we could hear it hit the wall even behind home plate and up a level. Tommy Joseph taking full advantage of the hitters in front of him, setting him up. That's what you like to see from the Phillies' perspective.
Fully outstretched was Ozuna. And now Michael Franco, Phillies third baseman, second and third. Phillies have their first run of the night. It did not come by a home run. Last 2 games, the doubleheader, 11 of the 12 Philly runs came via the long ball.
Well, this is a good old-fashioned 2-out rally.
Single, walk, double. And a strike, and it's 1-1. Game's just getting going across the landscape of baseball. There was a final today, and it's significant for the Marlins. The Giants beat the Brewers by a score of 4-2 in San Francisco. Fly ball, left center. Yelich in, now back, and makes the catch. But the Phillies, a 2-out rally, have the first run of the night, and it is 1-0.
Presented by Dominican Republic Tourism. Purchase a special event ticket and get a Marcell Ozuna Dominican Republic Heritage jersey. Plus, enjoy a post-game concert with merengue legend Aramis Emilio. Get your tickets at marlins.com/special events.
Mark Leiter Jr. on the mound, working on the baseball, getting ready. As the Marlins trail this ball game by a score of 1-0. Miami hot. They've won 9 of 11. Marcell Ozuna, JT Realmuto, and Derek Dietrich. And the first pitch from Leiter is high. Ozuna has had a great road trip. Just yesterday in the doubleheader, 2 homers, 2 walks, drove in 4. Fastball misses in.
RBI in 6 straight games for Ozuna. Incredible run production from the 4 spot in the lineup. We've talked an awful lot about consistency with Marcell Ozuna, raving about his RBIs, his production from month to month. How about this? It's hit no lower than 295 in any month this season.
Pitch is out, and Ozuna walks. He's starting to do a little more of that as well. Had a couple yesterday. And here comes JT Realmuto. Now, talking to Don Mattingly about the doubleheader and his lineup in the second game, Mattingly said he was all set to give JT Realmuto the second game off. But when he saw that swing in his last at bat, the opposite field home run, he decided, you know what, let's let that ride. And he put Realmuto at first base, put him in the lineup. That was a 3-run shot in the 9th in the first game. Real Muto came out smoking. He was 3 for 5 with 2 doubles in game 2.
Well, it's a good thing we all saw eye to eye on that, because that was a fantastic at bat and a great adjustment. He really had been struggling. Remember, he had the home run in the Mets series. It was on a breaking ball. He pulled it to left. He got all of it, no doubt about it. But he'd been struggling with the fastball a little bit. It had been beating him a few different times, and I thought maybe that would have been the right decision until that home run. Took 95 miles an hour, up just a little bit and out, and drove it over the right field wall. It was a real impressive swing, and I think that was absolutely the right call. You want to get somebody who has an at-bat like that or makes an adjustment like that in the course of a ball game. You want to see him build off of that at-bat. And what ends up happening in the second game of the night? 3 more rockets.
Real Muto swings and misses. And Mark Leiter Jr. right now already has 3 strikeouts. And of course, great bloodlines. His father and his uncle, both very good major league pitchers. Of course, we know Al so well, his uncle. 19 years for Al Leiter. 162 wins, an ERA of under 4. 2-time All-Star, 2-time World Champion. Of course, threw a no-hitter with the Marlins. And Mark's father, 11 years in the big leagues with 8 different teams. He did a little bit of everything.
Well, if you're wondering who Mark Leiter Jr. took after, I'll tell you, he took after his dad. He didn't take after Al. Al known for the cutter, and maybe he learned that pitch, but obviously Al left-handed and some really dominant stuff. Not that Mark wasn't very, very good and had a nice career. But that's what Mark Leiter Sr. was actually known for. I faced him in my career, and that was it. Unpredictable. Throw anything in any count. You might see the splitty, you might see the curveball, a slider, a changeup, 4-seamer. He'll throw you a cut fastball, a 4-seamer, a 2-seamer. I mean, he threw it all anytime. And that's what made him dangerous, was that you couldn't follow a pattern.
And as well, despite having the name Leiter, this is a guy that's earned his way every step into the big leagues. He was a 22nd round pick in 2013 by the Phillies out of the New Jersey Institute of, I guess it's the, I have to go back and look this up again. It's New Jersey Institute of Technology, thank you, in Newark. Now, you may not have heard of it because it's not a baseball factory. He's the very first from that program to get to the big leagues. Now, Derek Dietrich knows a thing about that because he went to school at Georgia Tech. So there you go. You've got 2 technical guys.
Who wins?
Battling here. I'm not sure.
A little too analytical for me. I'm going to bet on Dietrich.
Dietrich has really had a nice run. Dietrich flipped it off. Now, we've been talking about Dietrich and his last, 3-4 weeks. And so John Chimchuk, our baseball researcher, found this slash line. Look at this. Last 25 games, a 302 average, 396 on base, 523 slug. And that's a 25-game chunk for Dietrich.
It's tremendous production. Certainly the Marlins are thrilled to be getting it. It's made this lineup lethal, really. Think about the length, ability to score from the bottom and as well as the top.
Ooh, that's close. In fact, that may have been a strike. And it was. Dietrich got a break. On Fox Tracks, you see it had plenty of the plate, and it was just at the knees or above.
Actually, the best pitch to hit in the at-bat so far.
I doubt he's going to see it again. Leiter's done such a great job of, as you put it, not following any type of pattern.
Right. Well, in the situation against the righties, he's really gone to that slider or even the splitty. Throw that splitty to both sides. See him preset it. If you're watching at home, you can see it in his glove right now. Those fingers are split apart right around the baseball.
Runner goes, swing and a miss, and the throw down is not in time. First stolen base of the season for Marcell Ozuna. Leiter has another strikeout. He has punched out 4. And here comes Tomas Talis.
A base hit away from scoring a run. Marcell Ozuna, he peaks. Good pitch to run on. Not the best of slides, but this is an 84-mile-an-hour split finger fastball. Not the quickest of releases either.
Yeah, you're right on the slide.
Yeah,
that left wrist.
Just get there, drop anchor.
He's fortunate because when he hit the ground initially, that left wrist caught. There it is, number 1.
Everything that you're saying is somebody who doesn't head first slide an awful lot, right? The weight gets out over the feet a little bit. Chains getting in the way. All sort of things going on.
That adds weight to
it. Sure does.
The counterbalance.
Literally dropping anchor.
Talis 0 for 3 yesterday.
Leiter 4 Ks already.
In 2015 Leiter season cut short rotator cuff surgery. Nice little run back to the plate on that fastball.
Talis has seen it all so far in this at bat, other than the breaking ball. He's seen the cutter, 2-seamer, seen the splitty early. That was a changeup.
But with all these different pitches, he has had a few high strikeout games. 4 1/3 innings at Colorado, he struck out 9. Good job by Talis to watch that one outside. It's 3-1.
A lot of times it has to do with that split finger fastball, and if he's controlling it, again, it has to come into the strike zone where a hitter recognizes it as a strike and then falls out of the zone. We've seen the tumbling action already tonight. He's got a good lane there working on the pitch, so he trusts it. Maybe he'll hang one.
Full count here. Phillies a 1-0 start. This is a real contrast to the last 2 games here. The doubleheader. It seemed like runs were busting out in the first inning. Balls were flying out of here. Phillies stays alive. Marlins saw Leiter 3 times in relief. And he gave up 6 runs, 5 of them earned.
Biggest difference in those 3 outings, the 4 walks, certainly led to a lot of those earned runs.
That is strike 3 called. Just when you're thinking something else, it's a fastball.
these great flavors. Frank has been, I don't know how many years you've been handling out?
19 years.
19 years. Now, Todd Hollingsworth, have you seen this man for ice cream at all?
He had numbers on his forehead, though, in the post office.
But no ice cream.
No ice cream today.
Is he missing out, Frank?
He's missing out because we do have the best ice cream here.
Everybody says that.
We change every day.
Yes.
And you can see there's 8 flavors here.
It's the best.
And Turkey Hills is the best.
All right, it is the best. Maybe we'll see him later in the series. Keep looking for Todd there. Back to you guys. You're missing out something.
Frank is one of the most popular guys in the National League. And he's the guy that mans the Turkey Hill counter in the press dining room. Now,
Did Craig just call me son?
no, I think Frank did.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay with Frank. Craig, that's.
But no, this guy's, you've been munching on energy bars
Yeah, power bar.
and granola bars.
I'm known for this.
This is calling you right now. I even had a little Turkey Hill. I had muddy sneakers. It's a Philadelphia tradition.
I guilt myself a lot. I sit down and I want to, and I can't do it.
Tomorrow's a day game. Maybe get to the gym in the morning, get some of that guilt out of your system, and then go see Frank.
I will burn the candle from both ends. I certainly will admit to that. But if I haven't been, then I'm not going to do the ice cream.
Justin Nicolino misses inside, counts 2-2.
Which makes sense now. He was asking me if I wanted any ice cream. This was obviously after Craig had already set him up.
Oh, so Frank really tried to get to you.
He did.
And you...
I kindly declined.
Floreman, the 2-2. Jam shot, bouncer. Dietrich to his left. On to first in time. Nicolino has a ground ball out. Now Justin had 2 ground ball outs to start the first. And the Phillies got a single from Nick Williams. A Reese Hoskins walk. Tommy Joseph lined one off the wall and left for an RBI double. Here is Alfaro, who gets the start behind the plate.
Alfaro, he's hit the second game yesterday, now has an 8-game hitting streak, all since being called up.
We're talking about ball games today. The Giants beat the Brewers. Brewers now are at 66-62 with that loss. Marlins could use some help from the Mets as Arizona and New York are underway, tied at 1. Soft swing and 1 hopper for Nicolino. And there are 2 outs, and that brings up Mark Leiter Jr. Don Mattingly has said, look, let's not watch the scoreboard. Let's not worry about who's above us. Get to 500, maintain 500, and go from there. So the Marlins have arrived at 500, and that was a doubleheader sweep yesterday that gets them to an even 62-62.
Talking about the standings doesn't do anybody any good. This Marlins club, they're still trailing. They still need to win. They need to take care of business against teams like the Phillies. They have great opportunities set up for them in September. So you take care of your business against these particular types of teams, Braves, Nats, Phillies, division. You'll have a shot at the guys that the teams are in front of you. You've got the Brewers coming up at home about mid-September, and then you have the last road trip to Arizona and Colorado.
Since 2000, there's only 12 teams now that have been 13 under and been able to get back to 500. The Marlins are the 12th. Polino misses outside. One of the all-time great turnarounds in baseball history was actually a very young team in 2006. The Marlins were 20 under, and they got back to 500 at 68-68. A swing and a miss. So Nicolino, 1-2-3 second, 3rd inning in Philly. 1-0 Phils.
One of the craziest games in baseball history, the subject of our Geico This Date in Baseball History. 28 years ago in Montreal, Wallach then an Expo playing against the Dodgers. He got hit in a crazy game, scoreless for 21 innings. Dodgers never walked, but known more for this. Yuppie bothering Lasorda the whole game, stomping on the dugout, and then quietly in pajamas is ejected by umpire Bob Davidson after a lucid complaint. A sad Yuppie left. Dennis Martinez came in relief. El Presidente in a weird spot gives up a homer in the 22nd inning to Rick Dempsey as the Dodgers win this game 1-0. Expos thought they had won it in the 16th on a sac fly. Dodgers left the field. Murray stays on the field and notices Bob Davidson still at third base, and they appeal the runner at third and they call him out. The Expos to this day say he did not leave early. That was a crazy game. And one other note from that game, guys, the Dodgers did not walk in that game. And that's the longest amount of innings in any one game in Major League history, 22, that a team did not earn at least one walk.
Happily, though, Craig, Yuppie has found another job. He's now working with the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, he still works. He was a local policeman by the name of Pierre Belial, who was loved. He was a kind guy, a funny guy, and he just got on the nerves. And from what I understand, guys, the top of the dugout was like aluminum. So when he was stomping on it, it was noisy, and he wound up doing it right over Lasorda's head to be a further irritant to Tommy Lasorda.
Hard to imagine anybody irritating Tommy Lasorda.
I can confirm that Tommy was irritated. Not that I was there, just that he a lot of times would get irritated.
We go. Rojas pulls one foul. In this ball game, you don't have high velocity guys. You got the lefty Justin Nicolino, who's given up a run on 2 hits. And you've got Mark Leiter Jr., who's punched out 5 already, walked 1, and has thrown everything in the book at the Marlins so far. Like that, he is a Swiss Army knife of a starting pitcher.
73-mile-an-hour breaking ball. He's only thrown that a few times tonight.
Rojas guides that one to the right side. Joseph flips. Leiter is there. And there's an out here in the 3rd. If you can't catch the games on your television, you can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. Download the app. Take Fox Sports Florida, Marlins baseball, wherever you go. Here is Nicolino. Nicolino looking for his first hit of this season.
Well, he's got to get a hit tonight to keep the hit streak going, right? Starting pitchers have been raking right now.
4 consecutive games. Starting pitchers have a hit. Nicolino sprays that one wide of Franco and throws him out. That's the top of the order, but there's 2 outs for D. Gordon. Red Sox today made a trade acquiring Rajai Davis.
Nicolino's bat catches him after it snaps. Finishes his swing in the barrel. Flips all the way back around. Faro, no chance to get out of the way.
So the Red Sox get Rajai Davis, the veteran outfielder, for a minor leaguer. It's just after they placed Jackie Bradley Jr. on the disabled list with a sprained thumb. Of course, Rajai Davis hit that dramatic home run in Game 7 of the World Series.
He was there.
Brought Cleveland even. Wow. Big comeback. And of course, the game would go to extra innings before the Cubs would win in one of the most dramatic Game 7s in Major League history.
He'd been struggling all series long and against the dominant closer at the time, Aroldis Chapman. The pitch was clocked at 101 miles an hour. Lined it out over the left field wall.
Cards got some bad news today. Trevor Rosenthal will have Tommy John surgery. D. Gordon with the count at 2-1. Well, Leiter would obviously much rather keep Gordon anchored at the plate than bring Stanton up with a runner on and 2 outs. And it counts full now, 3-2.
And we should see him challenge Gordon. Does not want to give Stanton too many looks. He's given up 1 home run to the Marlins. That would be Stanton. Against Leiter, you really have to track his pitches. The point of release into the hitting zone, but really stay on it. Late movement.
Joseph spins around. Leiter gets there just in time. Mark Leiter Jr. has been sharp tonight. Miami still without a hit.
Presented by the authority of the Miami Marlins. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and the descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins.
In Philly, Marlins a doubleheader sweep yesterday. Phillies have the first run of the night, and Justin Nicolino, the second time through the order now. Cesar Hernandez, Freddie Galvis, Nick Williams. Marlins have a day game here tomorrow, and then a weekend series with the Padres. Starts on Friday night. That's Players Weekend. And of course, Players Weekend, Major League Baseball and the Players Association, in a nod to youth baseball, going to allow players to show off some of their personality in uniform and in equipment. Players will be able to use uniquely colored and designed bats, along with compression sleeves, wristbands, batting gloves, spikes. But the bats will be interesting because there are players that are going to swing orange bats. I think you may see a Marlin or two with that red-orange hue. You see some red bats, some blue bats. The shoes you always see in the All-Star game. There's your Marlins jerseys. Now, as you can tell, the names on the back are nicknames. And I understand that you have one of those jerseys.
I do.
Since you're an ex-player. And I did not see what nickname you had. Is it Holly Time? Is it
T. Holly?
T. Holly. Were there any nicknames that you had that would not be suitable for air? That
No.
You were above board most of your career?
Yeah, T. Holly chased me down. A lot of people just call me Holly, T. Holly. It's all about shortening my last name. It's quite long.
Now, the other nickname that I just said was Holly Time.
Yeah.
That's
a whole nother story.
Some people know you as, well, but it's a worthy story, and I believe with nobody out in the bottom of the third.
Okay, we can do it.
It's worth starting that story.
All right.
3-2 pitch. Hernandez drives it right center field, and it's by Stanton, goes to the wall. Hernandez thinking 3, around second, on his way to third, and he's got a triple. And the Phillies in business here in the third inning.
Cesar Hernandez showing lots of slugging potential. His 8th home run yesterday, career high number 8. Here a triple. Stanton, it's about the same spot he made that incredible catch yesterday, but when you're not able to come up with the catch and the route takes you across the field into center field, you got to backtrack to get that baseball. And Hernandez, once it's down, realizes he is on the go. So that's where he's going to turn it on for third base. He sees that Stanton is not going to be able to get him.
We got Galvis and Williams and Hoskins all lined up, trying to knock in this run, at least with a chance to go up 2-0. Little ground ball wide of third. All right, so Holly Time, this was in your Cubs run.
Cubs days, yes, as a player. I was a current player with the Cubs at the time, and well, I was the beneficiary of some playing time. I was a 4th outfielder. This was right after I had left the Marlins for our championship run and became a Chicago Cub.
Line drive. That'll get the run home. Ozuna cuts it off. Galvis has an RBI hit. And the Phillies are up 2-0. All right, so you are a Cub now. You got some playing time as the 4th outfielder. Someone got hurt, right?
That's right. Sammy Sosa ended up going down. You probably remember the story. If not, look it up online. It's kind of an interesting one. He sneezed a little too hard and ended up hurting his back. We were in San Diego. It was early in the season, and Sammy had to go on the disabled list, so I benefited from that. That was playing time for what soon would become Holly Time. I was able to play, went on a pretty good run, about a 27-30 game stretch. Well, Sammy was on the disabled list, and we had, in no direct line, played very well. And I'm not saying that I didn't play well. I certainly was swinging the bat pretty well, and the team responded, and we had a very good team that year as well. But it kind of coincided with us getting ourselves into first place. And as the time was wearing down and Sammy was making his way back, and he had come off a road trip, Sammy was waiting. He was going to be back in the lineup that day, as the story goes and has been told, and certainly verified by a few of my former teammates. Sammy, in a kiddingly way, said, as I was coming in after batting practice that day, Holly Time no mas. Holly Time no mas. Because Sosa time was back. He'd come off the disabled list and had acknowledged that appreciated my efforts, but that the Sammy show was back on.
So that your efforts were over.
Yes.
Your time.
No matter what you had done, which again was played pretty well over about a 30-game stretch, but that time had come to a close, and it was time for Sammy to be back on the field.
So it's accurate to tell your grandkids that Sammy Sosa gave you the nickname Holly Time.
That's correct.
That's another line drive. That's another hit into center field. Galvis will stop at second. And the Phillies have come out swinging against Nicolino, second time through the order.
Well, biggest difference, and we talked about it at the beginning of the ball game. Nicolino dominating the low part of the strike zone. These are not dominating the low part. Look where that target was from JT Realmuto. Needed that low and away. That is up at the belt. Williams right on it. Now 2 hits to center field against the southpaw. So yes, Holly Time was born, and that's where it started, and it's chased me down. It's made its way to Twitter and everything else, and it's hung in there. Not a bad story, though.
No, I like the fact that it was Sammy Sosa that gave
Sammy's the one who gave me the name. Holly time. There you go. Holly time, no mas.
Juan Nieves time on the mound in a visit with Nicolino. Now the Phils here at first and second. They have a run across. Hoskins, Joseph, and Franco are the next three hitters.
Hoskins 10 RBIs over his last 9 games.
Third baseman Anthony Rizzo with 14 over his last 2. He was a third baseman last night.
So I heard. Now played second base and third base this year.
Joe Madden last night had to put Rizzo at third base in an emergency. He became the first left-handed third baseman since, drum roll please, Don Mattingly did it with the Yankees.
You know how Don ended up playing third base that day?
I have
curiosity.
I have yet to dig deep enough to get that story. I remember the time he played second base. He played second base, remember, in the makeup game for the Pine Tar game because Billy Martin thought it was a sham and decided to put guys out of position from that point on.
Should have lobbied for shortstop.
I bet he probably could play it. By the way, was that an egg timer that was going off somewhere in the ballpark?
It wasn't a good possibility.
It wasn't my phone. It wasn't your phone. Oh, there it is. It's the Fanatic alarm clock.
That's what it is.
So the Fanatic alarm clock is going on, but there's not one in our booth. Two balls, two strikes. Two, and Hoskins takes down low. So for Nicolino, you're reaching a tipping point here. In this ballpark, you want to keep it close enough that your team can come back. He's 3-2. With a ground ball, he can slow this inning down and maybe find himself out of the inning. Or the Phillies can add to this lead.
I'll give the Phillies credit to this point. They've been pretty disciplined and not chasing out of the zone.
55 pitches for Justin Nicolino. On a night where Mark Leiter Jr. has been superb through 3 innings. Has struck out 5, walked just 1. Miami doesn't have a hit. Drill. Deep and gone. Rhys Hoskins, his 7th.
Now the long ball continues to fly off Hoskins' bat. Fought off some tough pitches down in the zone. The enthusiasm is coming around third base. Forced Nicolino to the mistake up in the zone. And we've seen that a few times here in the first couple innings. Hoskins pulled a few balls foul, not this one. Elevated fastball into the upper deck in left. going to look. Well-tied fastball right down the middle. Hoskins did not miss it.
Tommy Joseph now, so 5-0, and that tipping point just swung right over to the Phillies. Hoskins a 3-run homer. That young man has had quite a 2 weeks. Joseph cranks one foul. He's had all of 46 at bats in the big leagues. He's hit 7 homers and driven in 14 runs. That's strike 3 call. Joseph is out. Nicolino gets the first out of the 3rd inning. There's Franco now.
Home runs, 60 RBIs, and 60 RBIs leads the team.
Fans down below getting ready for the Eagles season.
Enthusiastically.
Yes. I think they were getting ready for the Eagles season in May or June.
Technically.
Yeah, here's the 2-1. And really, so were the Marlins at the end of May. Right? 13 games under.
Philly shot at 500 is slowly evaporating.
Yeah, you're right. That's too deep a hole. Two balls, 2 strikes. 4 runs here in the 3rd. For the Phillies.
2 extended stretches of production from the Phillies. 4 consecutive hits here in the 3rd inning. Back to the 1st inning, it was a leadoff single, excuse me, not a leadoff single, but a 2-out single by Williams, followed by a walk and a double from Joseph. So for Nicolino, he's got to find a way to break those strings, scatter the action a little bit more.
A lot of foul balls by the Philly hitters here. That's 2 in a row over there. What's the ground rule there? Can you go over the tarp? Is the tarp part of the stands? Is it part of the field?
You have to have at least 1 toe in the seats. You can do anything else.
Really? Fastball's in.
I'm trying to defend the poor young lad. I didn't want to get him in trouble.
Well, the best way to test that is have Craig go out on the field and not keep a toe in and see what happens.
That really cost him the other clipboard.
Pitches in and Nicolino walks Franco. 5-0. Phillies on top of the Marlins. Who doesn't love burgers and beer? Yeah. August 25th, 7:10 start. Padres and Marlins. Craft beer, a burger, game ticket. Starts at $30. There's the beer portion. Always like seeing that. Marlins.com/burger. Get your tickets. Here is Floriman.
tonight's ballgame, a 3-game hitting streak, going for his last 11. Had a hit in game 2.
Bunts it foul. We have a very enthusiastic section down below us here behind home plate. Autorissimer Despagne in Miami's bullpen. Because of the doubleheader yesterday, the Marlins are going to have to find a starter over the weekend in that Padres series. That one's into left field, and that's a hit. And Floriman adds to Nicolino's woes here tonight.
Philadelphia Phillies have been able to defend the low part of the strike zone. A lot of foul balls and extending at bats. Forcing Nicolino up. He has been up. They have not missed. That's where they've pounced time and time again in this ballgame. Now it's 71 pitches here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Here is Jorge Alfaro.
.35 pitches now here in the 3rd.
Rhys Hoskins, a 3-run homer, the big hit in the inning. With the Phillies have totaled 5 hits and a walk, and so far 4 runs. That's 10 games, 7 homers, and 13 RBIs for Rhys Hoskins. That's got to be player of the week territory, right?
He'd outstanding.
I think he's right in that company in terms of
Totally agree.
number of homers. That one's hit hard, and into the corner it goes. Franco will score. Floriman to third, and he's held. And the question for Don Mattingly is no longer if, it's when. And that when may be coming up soon.
6th hit this inning for the Philadelphia Phillies. Talked about it. A thigh-high fastball. Alfaro right on it, rips it into the corner. Now 9-game hitting streak. It's being recalled. Here comes Don Mattingly. This might just be it for Nicolino.
It is. Don Mattingly's going to go to the bullpen. Autorissimer Despagne is coming into the ball game. 8 men have come to the plate. There's only 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. 5 runs so far, 2 more left on base. Despagne arrives in a Florida lottery called to the bullpen. Get your group ready, even if they dance like this. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Claim it. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly.
Trismer Despagne into the ball game. 15 2/3 innings for the Marlins this year. 10 walks. Keep your eye on that. Sometimes can be an issue, but it hasn't been too much of an issue since getting back. Now his last time out, he got knocked around by the Mets a little bit. Gave up a couple hits and 3 earned runs, but before that, nice little stretch of 3 consecutive scoreless.
Marlins have the infield in, and you've got the pitcher, Mark Leiter Jr. up. Leiter, a strikeout victim, back in the second. So now you said he took after his father and not his uncle Al, his father Mark, but you were talking about pitching. What about hitting?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of remember Al's reaction the same way as Mark Leiter Jr. has been reacting to his swings.
See, that's not fair.
Sorry.
0-2.
Truth, though.
A little soft line drive. Talise across the diamond, and the Marlins get a double play.
Nicely done.
How about that?
Sure enough.
Well, you bring the infield in, and you still get a double play. And that ends a long inning. 5 runs for the Phils. 9 men came to the plate. Nice job. Nice throw by Talise. And our site for a GMC Wednesday showdown with the Marlins and the Phillies, and it's lopsided right now. It's still early, but the Phillies have a 6-0 lead. Beautiful downtown Philadelphia, so much history. Citizens Bank Park is on the outskirts of town, and this area contains 4 professional teams, major professional teams. The Phillies, obviously, here at the ballpark. Eagles over their football stadium. Sixers and Flyers in the big arena over there. And I'm sure as a kid growing up, Mark Leiter Jr. went to all of those venues, and probably the old venues as well. Probably came to the Vet a few times. Giancarlo Stanton. Fastball misses outside. Not only have the Marlins given up 6 runs, but they don't have a hit against Leiter. Stanton struck out in the first. Well, Leiter's control is such that when his catcher asks for a fastball in, he gets it in far enough where Stanton can't get to it.
Yeah, he's been on his marks all night long. That's good for Leiter. Talked about mixing the pitches. He was hit Farrow's glove all night long. Wherever he is setting up, obviously pitching very carefully to Giancarlo Stanton right now.
He's in again. Stanton busts his bat, and it floats out to Hernandez, who's playing on the third base side of the bag. Some T-Mobiling here. Adrian Gonzalez, 2000th hit as the Dodgers won again. This is last night. Gary Sanchez, 2 homers, including one that nearly went 500 feet.
493, I believe.
And David Wright starts his rehab assignment. Was 0 for 4 in Port St. Lucie. Gary Sanchez is homered tonight. He has 7 homers in his last 9 games. Number 26 tonight for Sanchez.
Fair to say he's seeing the ball pretty well. Christian Yelich's been seeing it pretty well as well.
Comebacker on a hop. And Yelich has bounced out twice. It'll bring up Marcell Ozuna.
Yeah, that's a little soft liner that Stanton hit. Start the 4th inning. It's the first ball in the air that was an out, either a strikeout or a ground out. So that broken bat line drive.
Baltimore beat Oakland. Manny Machado, walk-off homer in the 12th inning. Machado's hit 28. 9th walk-off win of the season for Baltimore. The Orioles are now 10-2 in extra inning games. How about that?
They found their way to wins. Stay tuned. A lot of long games. I just feel like every team finds its its little slot, whether it's great starting pitching, good timely hitting, or keeping it close till you walk off. As fun as that is, a lot of times it means playing extra innings.
The downside of that ball game is that Zach Britton's run of 60 consecutive saves was snapped.
Oh, wow.
60 in a row. It's the longest streak in American League history. Well, Mark Leiter Jr. has done a terrific job of keeping the ball off the barrel of Miami's hitters. That run of 60 is second all-time to Eric Gagne's 84. Alfaro ran through the entire alphabet there.
He's got 8 pitches. He went through all 8 and all 8 for a shakeoff.
So if you've got 5 fingers and 8 pitches,
take the glove off.
Nice play there by Franco, charging in, and Leiter is still brilliant. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by the all-new Jeep Compass. By Hankook. Chase down your passion, never halfway. And by your South Florida Chevy dealers. All right, they're all lined up there. There's Gino's, Pat's, Jim's. There's Pat's. Cesar Hernandez opens up the bottom of the fourth, much like he did the bottom of the third. He tripled in the third, and he doubles here in the fourth. And so the Phillies, no matter if it's Justin Nicolino or Odrisamer Despaigne, the Phillies are swinging it right now.
Gap to gap for Hernandez. Triple in the right center field gap, a double in the left center field gap. Solid approach. Fastball to hit, right on it.
Mark Leiter Jr. is not allowed a hit here in 4 innings. In Pittsburgh, Rich Hill has a perfect game through 5. That one flipped into the seats off the bat of Freddie Galvis.
Well, stay tuned in the 7th inning for the Jeep Compass game break for highlights and commentary from around the league.
Jessica Blaylock, Preston Wilson in the 7th inning.
Galvis picked up an RBI single his last time up. It's his first hit in the series. Rough day yesterday, 0 for 7. Snapped an 0 for 12 with that hit. Excuse me, 0 for 13 with that hit.
Well, it was Miami who scored early and often and then held on for both wins yesterday. Yelich charging, and he makes a catch.
Well, they'll have to come back in tonight's ball game. In fact, first things first, they're going to have to figure out Mark Leiter Jr.
Mets and Diamondbacks are 1 apiece in the middle of the 4th inning. Cubs are pounding the Reds 9-0. Top 4. Cubs 10 over and on top in the Central. I told you Milwaukee has lost to the Giants 4-2. Lost that series in San Francisco. And so the Cubs lead is 3, and if that 9-0 lead holds, it's in the 4th. That lead will go to 3.5. Rockies tonight are in Kansas City. A 1-0 lead. That game just underway. 1st inning. Rockies on top. Score first.
Pitch by Despaigne. Nick Williams, a couple of solid at bats tonight against the lefty Nicolino. Base hits to center field, stayed through the middle.
Wasn't it Rich Hill in Miami last year that had?
Was.
I can't remember now if it was a perfect game or a no-hitter.
I know it was at least a no-hitter.
Well, I know it, yes.
Yeah.
That for sure, but
I'm not sure it was a perfect game, but you're right. Had to be taken out. He was kind of fresh off the disabled list.
Yes.
At least a couple games off the disabled list. And Dave Roberts had to.
He wasn't too pleasant about it.
No.
Not Dave Roberts, but Rich Hill.
Right. He's getting the Dodgers ready for the postseason, and Rich Hill certainly a part of it. I think he didn't take it too far. The Dodgers ended up signing him to a long-term deal in the winter.
Yeah, and I remember that night talking about Dave Roberts and how that was absolutely the right thing to do. There's so much on the line. It was September. The Dodgers were headed to the postseason. And Roberts was essentially protecting him from himself. And Don Mattingly had that same decision to make with Adam Conley. Remember, he was in Milwaukee. Wayne Chen as well had a no-hitter going late. Was that Seattle?
Correct.
See, when you get to this point of the season, I don't want to say they all run together. But
well, thank you. John Chipchuk. It was 7 perfect innings.
nice. Nick Williams swings and misses, and he strikes out.
Rich Hill back at it again tonight.
Rhys Hoskins now, the left fielder. Look at that. He's so hot, he gets into the promo for tomorrow's game. And you know what? He has been swinging for the fences. 7 homers in 10 games out of Sacramento State University. The Hornets of Sac State. Hoskins a 3-run homer in the big inning for the Phils, which was the bottom of the 3rd.
Very impressive at bat. He's fighting off pitch after pitch, low in the zone against Nicolino. Finally got something up he could handle and out. His arms extended. Drove it out to the upper deck and left. That's no small feat. Tonight's very comparable to what he's done all season long. Hit for power and take a walk.
Breaking ball for a strike. And by the way, Rich Hill has 6 perfect innings tonight. He gets through the 6th in Pittsburgh. We'll keep you updated on that. Braves are at home, losing to Seattle 4-3. Busted bat, little pop-up. Gordon is out there, and he makes a catch. Well, Bismarck Despagne calms things down a bit. 6-0 Phils. Inning in Philly.
Now bring your family to see the Fish take on the Padres. 1:10 on Sunday. Pick up the Aquafina Family 4-pack starting at $84. Get 4 tickets for Nathan's all beef hot dogs, 4 Pepsi soft drinks, or Aquafina waters. Purchase tickets at marlins.com/Aquafina.
Cool caps.
It's the All-Star Game hats.
They are. Mark Leiter Jr. has been brilliant through 4 innings. The breaking ball hits the dirt. The only blemish, the walk to Marcell Ozuna in the 2nd. Other than that, it's either been a strikeout, a ground ball out, Or the one ball in the air, the Giancarlo Stanton broken bat looper to short. Realmuto lifts it to left. Hoskins is in. He makes a catch.
Let's be honest, there hasn't been a hard hit ball. All of the grounders or either jam shots or off the end of the bat.
Derek Dietrich now. He struck out in that second inning. 1 o'clock start tomorrow. Vance Worley goes for the fish. Out to short. Galvis loads up and gets the outs. Marlins Live will get you ready. 12:30 tomorrow. Jessica Blaylock, Preston Wilson. Preview of Game 4 from Philly. Vance Worley and TBA for the Phils. Tomas Talis. We've heard Jake Thompson might be a guy that will pitch for the Phils tomorrow. But we've not been handed the official starting pitcher note that tells you he's going. I've just been handed a note that said he's going. It's official.
Does that make it official now?
Yeah, but not when it's signed by you. Don't try to pull that with me.
I thought maybe it'd work.
We've been partners now for almost 5 months, and I know your handwriting.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
That was a dead giveaway.
Lefties know lefties, don't they?
Yes, they do. Only a lefty when I write. So.
Right.
Brian Ellington in Miami's bullpen. So a 1 o'clock start tomorrow. Friday night Padres. Saturday night Padres. Sunday afternoon Padres. Really busy weekend. Pudge is in the house. He'll be in the booth on Saturday. Bark at the Park and yoga after the game. And there's a giveaway on Sunday as well, right? The Hula Billy figurine. Now, we were unaware of this, but apparently the Marlins are giving away Ichiro t-shirts on Saturday night. There's a chopper up the middle. Galvis fires to first in time. First 7,500 in the ballpark on Saturday get an Ichiro t-shirt. And last night was a long night for the Phillies starting pitchers. Tonight, it's been a short night because Mark Leiter Jr. has thrown 5 no-hit innings at the Marlins here in Philly. Despaigne, that pitch is fouled. Short of the booth.
Well, just a little bit short, darn it.
We need in the old days, in a lot of the old ballparks, broadcasters would have big nets for home run ball, or not home run, foul balls that would come back. Some fans used to have those for home run balls in the bleachers, but a lot of broadcasters started using them, especially when you were exposed. The old Tiger Stadium was probably the closest and the most dangerous for foul balls.
Here at Citizens Bank Park, we have this little overhang. The upper deck's kind of hanging over us, and you got to be real careful with that. I was thinking the same thing. I thought about it in game 1. We got to, some of these foul balls that come back, be deceived by the little lip up there.
Well, not only deceived. There you are. We even have dramatic lighting in our booth.
I think I could have caught that if I could have gotten out of my chair. It's wrapped up in my cord.
Yeah, but that's one of those balls, though, that if you really reach for that, you might go out of the booth.
Well, it did just kind of hit the wall just past our booth. Just felt like I could get an arm out.
Deep. Ozuna is there and makes the catch. Franco, a fly ball out. After watching what we saw last night and another homer tonight by the Phillies, you fully expected that one to get over, and Despaigne with a bit of a look of relief. But Odrismer's pitched well here. He's come in after the Phillies put 6 up, and he has 2 outs here in the 5th inning.
Well, it really settled things down, especially the top of the 4th after giving up a leadoff double to Hernandez, able to get out of that jam. The whole goal is to keep the score set here and give the Marlins an opportunity to get the offense going to some point. Base hit would be a good start.
Floriban pops this one, shallow left. Rojas off his glove. And it falls for probably a hit. And it is a base hit.
Glacier divot. Nice effort by Rojas. Concentrating all the way. Probably makes the catch. It almost looked like you just mistimed the squeeze once the ball hits the glove. And hit off the thumb. Really nice effort by Rojas. A hit for the Phillies.
Alfaro now takes a fastball that misses low. Well, the Phillies have hit double digits in hits with that. Bouncer, Rojas, little flip. Gordon is there. Inning is over. Despaigne keeping the Phillies at 6-0. All right, Jess, we just saw one of your favorite things here, and that's the hot dog-shaped hot dog shooting gun that the Philly fanatic has on his little bad motor scooter. And he was around firing hot dogs at the fans during the break. There it is. There's nothing like some hot compressed meat flying up to your section.
Where was it that we saw the machine gun style shooter?
Atlanta,
Was
right?
it Atlanta? You need to do that with the hot dog. You know, like it was like 5 or 10 were coming out per second. Got them all the way up into the upper deck.
I remember that. But
That's pretty impressive stuff.
like I said,
I don't remember where it was though.
they all run together, just
Yes,
like
they
the
do.
hot dogs in that Gatling gun of
right.
hot dog treats. That's
There
the
it
first
is.
base hit. Rojas rolls it down the left field line around first. And Mark Leiter Jr. gives up his first hit to lead off the 6th inning. What a night for this young right-hander. He has baffled the Marlins all night long.
5 hitless innings. Takes a chopper down the third base line. Rojas' 6th double of the season to break up this no-hit effort. Jay Ellis is going to step in and take pinch hit appearance. He was 1 for 3 yesterday. Had a couple walks.
Well, look, there's enough baseball, and in this ballpark, the Marlins can come back. They showed it last night. Ellis swings and misses here. You got Gordon, Stanton, then Yelich and Ozuna. To right, Floremon backing up. Rojas tags. That's a strong arm. And the throw is cut. Rojas gets to third. And so an out. And here comes Gordon, and you got a Stanton back coming as well.
Productive out. Nonetheless, Ellis pinch hitting, drives one to right, able to move Rojas up a base. Contact to the middle of the field should score Marlins' first run at a minimum.
Gordon 0 for 2. Everybody's an 0 for 2, it seems. Ozuna walked once. He's 0 for 1. Rojas is 1 for 2. With just one hit.
Back-to-back fastballs. You see 90-91, and basically what Leiter has done is he's thrown so many off-speed pitches effectively. He's got this Marlins lineup at that 91 thinking it looks like 97. That's what ends up happening when you set your mind and your eye on breaking pitches and secondary pitches. So good splitty, good curveball. Even his cut fastball has been productive.
Count 2-1.
Gordon looking for something up. He can hit hard. He can drive. This inning going. Get Stanton up.
With all the pitches he throws, how do you look for anything?
Well, you don't. Just trying to make him throw strikes. You got to keep him in the zone. Remember, he's got a lot of movement, but the key really is getting him up. Remember, almost everything he throws has a lot of downward movement to it. It's not going to overpower you, blow you away with velocity. Whether it's the split finger, the slider, even that big breaking ball that he's shown a few different times, has good movement late down in the zone. So you're thinking out over the plate. You've got to be really, really disciplined and not chasing, particularly that split finger. Do your best to see it. Try and see it early.
Full count now to Gordon. Mark Leiter Jr., son of Mark, who pitched 11 years in the big leagues, nephew of Al, one of our favorites. Gordon drives that one down the right field line. Hey, how about that? Look at that. Just
well done.
He's got baseballs galore. He's got 2 in his hand. He just got 1 there. Watch this play.
Had it all the way. How about the look after making the catch? That's right.
But he's now holding 3 baseballs.
Oh, he's a busy man.
I've never seen that. I've never seen someone make a catch in the stands with 2 baseballs already on their person.
Trying to get some autographs.
It's tough to get autographs during the game, though.
He's hoping for a Stanton autograph, if you ask me. Nicely done.
I think he's got a Sharpie in that hand too. That's a great play. Gordon pops it shallow right, and it's caught there by Hernandez. Okay, so we've been watching Mark Leiter Jr. baffle the Marlins here. We wanted to know how Todd Hollinsworth did against the Leiter family. Now, against Al,
no chance.
You were 0 for 6, and he punched you out 5 times.
I'd love to know what type of contact the other at bat was.
But look at Mark. You had success against Mark.
I did, obviously. Yes, I told you.
Was that a righty-lefty thing or just a
Mark's right-handed,
thing?
right? No, it was definitely. Well, Al ate up a lot of lefties, including me. Didn't make too many starts again. The funny thing about it is, right, you see, now listen, they both pitched roughly at the same time. You see how many at-bats I was allowed to have in the big leagues against Al and how many I was allowed to have against Mark. 6 against Al and 21 against Mark. I think that says a lot, doesn't it?
Big breaking ball for a strike to Stanton. Watching Leiter work to Stanton has been interesting tonight because obviously we've seen a lot of different approaches during this great run and this great season that Stanton is having. And Leiter has done a really nice job of not only changing speeds, but changing locations, changing pitches. Really hard to predict or expect anything and be right about it.
Well, and just enough giddy up on that fastball to force Marlins hitter to keep it in the back of their minds. So you're right. I mean, it's not just about going up there and sitting on the splitty or the slider or the change and thinking you're going to get something to hit off speed. He's throwing enough fastballs to keep you honest.
Stanton gets after that one to left. Hoskins is there and he makes the catch. Miami gets their first hit, but still don't have a run. Marlins and Phillies on a Wednesday showdown driven by GMC. The iconic look down Broad Street. 6-0. This has been a lopsided GMC showdown. Brian Ellington coming into the ball game for Miami. He takes over for Odrisamer Despaigne.
Ellington gave up a run last night. Just one inning, one earned run. It was a home run. Good strikeout totals. Unfortunately, that walk total pretty lofty as well.
Very spirited session of kiss cam during the break. Now, and I kind of expected that. Mark Leiter Jr. is not an accomplished hitter, and he's been facing Nicolino and Despaigne, who don't throw all that hard. This guy throws very hard, and he bailed out on that first pitch. And Ellington, this is down low, and it's 2-0. Don Manley today talking about Brian Ellington. The key, just throw strikes. He said the stuff is good enough. If he throws strikes, he'll get outs. And he has a strike there, and it's 2-1.
Well, that is the truth, but a lot of it has to do with the sequencing as well, and trusting that stuff and being able to throw his secondary pitches. So I'd love to see the velocity. It cannot become predictable.
Leiter hits a sharp ground ball to short. Rojas to the first. All right, coming up once we get to the 7th inning, our Jeep Compass game break. Jessica Blaylock, Preston Wilson. We'll bring you up to speed. We'll check in on Rich Hill's quest for perfection. Dodger lefty is through 7 and is perfect. That's in Pittsburgh, and his pitch count is reasonable. He's at 73 pitches.
Flip side of that, Trevor Williams is throwing himself a pretty good ball game as well. Game 0-0 in the 8th.
And Dodgers have 7 hits, but no runs. Ellington with a strike, 100 miles an hour. To Cesar Hernandez, who has helped fuel the Phillies' night with a triple and a double. Big hits for the Phils. Rhys Hoskins, 3-run homer. Jorge Alfaro, RBI double. Tommy Joseph, RBI double. Freddie Galvis, an RBI single. D. Gordon on to Talise at first. So 2 ground ball outs for Ellington. Odrisamer Despaigne came in and went 2 2/3 scoreless. Justin Nicolino, 2 1/3, 8 hits, and he was charged with all 6 runs. And here's Galvis, who's 1 for 3.
So far, so good for Ellington. Good stuff. Get to those secondary pitches at least a couple times. 7 pitches he's thrown.
Marlins and Phillies still have plenty of games left. Fish have, after tonight, 37 games left in the season. 8 of those still include the Phillies as an opponent.
That's the point I'm trying to make in driving home the opportunity. This wild card chase, berth, look at it however you choose. Marlins are right there. Got to take care of business. They've got to play at the level they've been playing here for a while. and beat a team that they have not consistently beat in the Philadelphia Phillies. Yesterday was a great first step. Really need to take care of business against this Phillies team that has struggled all season long.
Full count 3-2. Pete Buchanan has had a trying season. Galvis stays alive. Phillies, as you know, after that great run of postseasons, 5 in a row, World Series title, World Series appearance. They beat the Rays for a World Championship. They lost to the Yankees in the World Series. Galvis takes a fastball up and in. That team is all gone now, and what's left are prospects that have come through the Phillies organization, prospects that have arrived from other teams in trades. Cole Hamels, Utley trade. Nick Williams, one of those guys. He came from the Rangers in the Hamels deal.
He has played very well for the Philadelphia Phillies. It's coming up.
I guess the question for the Phillies is there enough talent on its way and here, if you put it all together, to start winning ball games and start contending in the East? Or they need to supplement what they've got by going out and signing some free agents and shoring up spots that they feel like they need to help.
It's very much a possibility, and most people believe that the Philadelphia Phillies will dive into that pool at some point.
Ellington all the way to the screen.
Question is when. Gets around that breaking ball, and JT unable to keep it from the backstop.
Triple-digit fastball, 2-2.
Well, that's the gift right there. Ellington, he needs to, can rear back and blow a fastball by a number 3 hitter. Marlins would love for him to figure out how to pair that with the slider and the changeup as part of his arsenal.
Full count, 3-2. That's a strike, technically. Stays at 3-2.
When you come in pounding strikes, when you throw a lot of strikes, umpires are inclined to think strike first as opposed to ball first. I think that's actually a pretty good example a couple of pitches ago of sometimes what Ellington has to deal with. Getting that borderline strike. Doesn't always get it because he's not throwing nearly enough.
Williams on his way to first.
Back-to-back walks.
After back-to-back ground ball outs to open the 6th. And Juan Nieves is out for a visit. Reese Hoskins is the subject of our Florida Lottery in-game jackpot. Tonight's only his 14th career game. He started his Major League career 0 for his first 12. But now he's got 7 homers and 14 RBIs in his last 10 games. Last Philly with 14 or more RBIs in his first 14 games. Don Money. I don't remember Don Money as a Phil. Of course, I was not very coherent at that point. But I remember Don Money as a Milwaukee Brewer, I think.
Any relation to Eddie Money?
No. Last time I saw Eddie Money, he was passed out at a frat party on my college.
Like,
Yes. That was a long time ago. Not long enough to remember Don Money as a Philly.
right.
1-0. That is by the diving Dietrich, and down into the corner it goes. Galvis, Williams, both score. How about Rhys Hopkins? Rhys Hoskins has 5 RBIs. You might as well take the Player of the Week trophy and just mail it to him right now.
Another impressive ball game for Hoskins. Well, that leg kick and that timing mechanism is down even on high velocity, and that's the thing. That's the trouble that you run into with Ellington. You know how strong he is, how hard he throws. Hottest guy in this lineup, Rich, is Hoskins, and essentially Ellington walked to Hoskins and is forced to throw a strike. As I just said, the hottest hitter comes up with a 2 RBI double.
Hoskins, who drove in 2 runs yesterday, now has 7 RBIs in the series, 2 home runs in the series, and now this double. I've just been handed a note that 5 RBIs in a game is his career high.
Well, I suppose there's 2 different ways of looking at that. He does have 16, and I don't know, maybe he could have had more. I know it's a small sample size, but he's been that crazy hot. You're right. I mean, I think my initial reaction to that is it's pretty obvious, right?
Well, he's in his career now.
But if you told me he had 7 homers, I would have said, well, maybe you're crazy too.
Well, just the fact that he started his career 0 for his first 12.
Well, he got locked in.
And in 36 at-bats after that, there's a breaking ball for a strike.
It's been home run derby.
7 homers. And you're right, the 16 RBIs. Tommy Joseph swings and misses.
What was it?
One and 2. That one pulled wide of third.
3 consecutive sliders to Joseph. The first one a dandy. And they're backed up just a little bit. Still effective.
Ellington got the first 2 outs, a couple walks, 2-run double by Hoskins, and a pop-up back behind second. Gordon is there, and he squeezes 2 more for the Phils. On to the 7th. 8-0. hit for the Fish against Mark Leiter Jr.
Attention all Fish family, season ticket holders, renewal season is here. We have so many exciting things planned for our 25th anniversary next season. You won't want to miss out on the celebration. Learn more at marlins.com/renewals. There's a Marlins fan.
Mark Leiter Jr. was born in Fort Lauderdale, but Toms River, New Jersey. Todd Frazier, of course, from that same spot. Frazier played on that Toms River Little League World Series championship team. Here's Christian Yelich. Now Leiter flirted with a no-hitter here. He gave up a single to start the 6th. He pitches into the 7th. Yelich, Ozuna, and Real Muto. Rojas actually had a double in that 6th inning. Pitch at the knees. Yelich has bounced out twice.
I'll tell you what, I think proof of how good Leiter has been tonight is in watching Yelich go about his business. He has been hot as anybody in this lineup tonight, spraying the ball from line to line, just about every type of pitch on. He's hit a couple balls off the end of the bat tonight as well.
It's a pretty good pitch there. It's in. Counts 3-1. Now, Leiter lost the no-hitter with that double by Rojas. Rich Hill has kept his perfect game. The Dodger lefty in Pittsburgh is perfect through 8, and he's thrown only 87 total pitches.
He doesn't want to experience what happened in Miami last time. Keep that pitch count down, right? Yelich just gets a piece.
It's been a really odd start in terms of strikeouts and outs, because right out of the chute, Leiter struck out Gordon and Stanton, and then struck out Real Muto, Dietrich, and Talise in the 2nd. Pitches out, Yelich walks.
Hasn't recorded a strikeout since, though.
There's his 2nd walk. And it's going to bring Ozuna up.
Well, the contact has not been hard or consistent.
Marlins and Phillies back at it tomorrow, 12:30 start for Marlins Live.
All right, it's time for the Marcell Ozuna 3rd at bat of the ballgame daily update. 346 batting average, 664 slugging percentage, 7 homers, 26 RBIs. That 3rd plate appearance. Many times made very nice adjustments throughout the ballgame. Let's see if he does it tonight. See, I have my own in-game jackpot.
That's the Holly Time in-game jackpot.
Right. Marcell Ozuna 3rd at bat in-game jackpot.
Well, he hit it well, but it's foul. If you had money in the Marcell Ozuna will steal a base jackpot, and you picked today, you would win big, because he had gone 309 games without a stolen base.
Would you agree that that is the offensive highlight to this point in the game for the Marlins?
His slide or
the stolen base? Just it.
Ozuna rolls it out towards short. Galvis gets the out at 2nd. Yelich is erased. And it brings up Real Muto.
This Marlins team just continues to struggle with picking up Leiter and maintaining their balance in the box. Give Leiter the credit. He's been very good. He has been not only hard to pick up, but Had good downward action all night long. A lot of balls off the end of the bat.
Phillies pen finally sees some action. Luis Garcia. Real Muto to short. Galvis, Hernandez, Joseph. And the Phillies get a double play. 8-0 here. Phillies on top. Let's head back to our Fox Sports studios for the Jeep Compass game break. Southwest Airlines game summary. Phillies on top 8-0. Bottom 7 here. Mark Leiter Jr. had a no-hitter through 5. Miguel Rojas double broke it up. Rhys Hoskins is at it again. 3-run homer, 2-run double, driven in 5. And the Phillies enjoying a laugher right now. We, like Jessica and Preston, have been following that Rich Hill perfect game. He lost the perfect game, but not the no-hitter. Logan Forsythe made an error at third base, and thus ending the perfect game. But Hill, with a runner at first and nobody out, still has a no-hitter, 89 pitches in Pittsburgh. In a scoreless game, by the way, so he's not assured of anything at all. He's going to have to go 10 now to get that no-hitter, which doesn't sound likely, does it? Here's Tazawa. Of course, there's a high pop. Of course, losing a perfect game, and the Pittsburgh Pirates will always be connected. It was Harvey Haddix long ago. I think that was in the 50s. He pitched, I want to say, into like the 12th inning and lost a perfect game. That's a scoreless game in the bottom of the 9th, and the Pirates have a runner in scoring position, and Hill is throwing a no-hitter. I wonder when the last time someone threw 9 no-hit innings and lost a game. Didn't Pedro Martinez have something similar to that?
I suppose he could technically lose this game without giving up a hit if there was a pass ball or wild pitch or something.
High pop-up. Dietrich makes the catch. Fox Sports supports, salutes Girls on the Run and their dedication to empowering young girls and instilling confidence through running. Learn more on how you can get involved by visiting foxsportsupports.com. Franco is out. Here is Floriman.
Floriman, a couple of hits in tonight's ball game. Started game 2 last night.
Ball and a strike. Tazawa, who pitched in last night's ball game, got knocked around a bit. Trying to bounce back here. Marlins don't have an off day for a while. In fact, Miami has, and correct me if I'm wrong, but looking at the schedule, Miami has just 2 off days the rest of the season.
And both of those off days in September.
And both those off days are on the road. Sort of. One's here in Philly, and one's a travel day in Arizona. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Tazawa's done a nice job staying in on Floriman's hands. Get those arms extended. Good fastball, 92-93.
Pedro Floriman. And you got Jorge Alfaro behind him. And Tazawa strikes him out. So 2 outs here. Toyota brings you an inside look. The all-new RAV4. Game for the youngest teams in Major League Baseball. Now the Phillies are the youngest. You got Padres, Mets, Reds. Now the Marlins are the 27th youngest, so they're one of the oldest. But you got to think there's a few guys on the roster that skew that. One being a certain future Hall of Famer in Itro at 43. Got a veteran backup catcher in A.J. Ellis.
A few older arms down in the bullpen.
Dustin McGowan. Brad Ziegler. So it's a mix of young and old. Well, the oddity that is that start by Rich Hill continues. That game is now going to the 10th. Dodgers and Pirates are scoreless, and Hill has thrown 9 innings of no-hit ball. He lost 9 innings of perfect baseball with a Logan Forsythe error. And he may be done for the night. Alfaro can't check his swing. Tazawa works a clean 7th. And this ball game progresses to the 8th. Back here in Philadelphia, Rich Waltz, Todd Hollandsworth, Craig Minervini probably down with the Fanatic right now. Or thereabouts. There we are. Look at that. And there's the Fanatic. Great dance mix. Always the dramatic kiss to finish things.
Tommy Lasorda would not have tolerated that.
Yes, Craig had that great story about the historic game in Montreal, that long extra inning game in which Yuppie was ejected. And it was not a surprise when we heard the story that Craig told so well, that it was Bob Davidson who ejected the, and I want to go back and look at the box score to see if he called any balks in that game. It was one of his trademarks. Dietrich chops it wide of first.
Another one of his trademarks, I believe, was also he was known for calling guys at third base for leaving early on sacrifice fly balls. And I believe that was actually part of that game.
Yes, it was late in that ball game.
I was called for the same thing by Bob Davidson.
He was not, Lasorda wasn't the only guy that didn't like mascots. There's some other players and managers that have a disdain for mascots. Lou Piniella, I believe, as a player, as a Yankee, once had to be forcibly held back from going after the famous chicken. And look, if you've got Lou Piniella coming after you, that's you're thankful that someone was able to get between you. Because we've seen what Lou did to bases and home plates.
It was pretty fiery.
Can you imagine what he would do to the chicken? That one foul back to the screen. What's
Probably take his beak and do something like that.
Yes. What's the worst mascot tale that you have? This is the footage. This is in extra innings. Yuppie came out in pajamas with a pillow. There's Bach and Bob.
Get out of here. Love it.
And as we've been told, the roof of the dugout was aluminum, so anytime you stomp on it, especially above Tommy Lasorda, that's a racket. How about you in all of your trips and travails through the minor leagues and the major leagues? Any run-ins with
I stayed
mascots?
Away from those. I stayed away from those guys.
Swing and a miss. Dietrich strikes out. Miami has just one hit in this ball game, and Luis Garcia introduces himself here in the 8th inning.
Could you identify with the famous taco in San Antonio?
Well, in my trip through the minor leagues, I spent a year in the Texas League, and San Antonio was the Dodgers affiliate.
Right.
I was there just before you were there, and they had the infamous race where a fan would go from home plate around the bases, and a person dressed in a taco outfit would start at second, and the whole deal was, back then, was, hey, you race somebody, and if you beat him, you win something. But in San Antonio, it was a little more physically involved.
Yeah.
You had to tackle the taco before the taco got to home plate. Taco started at second, you started at home. Talise knocks it into left field. That's a base hit. Second hit for the Marlins. Now there were problems abound in the season that I witnessed. That they kept getting the folks in the taco outfit injured because, number one, a lot of the fans that did the racing were boozed up, so to speak. Number two, there were no arms in the taco outfit. It was like a guy in a giant roll of carpet, sort of, with lettuce and
the costume didn't have arms
and cheese.
Right.
There were no arms. So
that's the reason why I brought this up.
So when you get tackled in a taco outfit with no arms,
you're going down. Your face is stopping
from
your
some
fall.
250-pound Texan fueled up on cerveza, it doesn't end well. And oftentimes they would have to help the taco off and then come clean up the lettuce and the cheese that had fallen near the home plate.
It was my understanding that they had to discontinue those races. The insurance premiums were going up.
Yes. That was when you arrived after I had been in the Texas.
So there were definitely stories about that, yeah. But most of the time I steer clear of the mascots.
Talise at first. Rojas up. Garcia's pitch is fouled at the plate. By the way, the Dodgers failed to score in the 10th. So that game's going to the bottom of the 10th. And Rich Hill, we'll see if he comes back out to pitch in the bottom of the 10th against the Pirates. Scoreless. Hill has 9 no-hit innings. John Chimchuk confirms that no balks were called in that 22-inning game by Bob Davidson. Ball's cut off by Joseph, out with Galvis at short. Talise is erased. Settle in tomorrow, and you want to settle in at 12:30 for Marlins Live. Vance Worley will go for the Marlins. Mystery pitcher will go for the Phils. El Dorado Furniture brings it to you. Worley, a former Phil, gets a shot at his old team here. Day baseball, not too hot tomorrow, but warm. Temperature mid-80s with some humidity. That could go up a little bit. So the ball could be flying, so it should be entertaining.
Well, tonight's ball game stays true to the form that we've seen. You know, yesterday kind of becomes a pretty important ball game when you really think about it. Of course, you have the doubleheader sweep yesterday, still leading the series 2-1. You want to walk out with a series win, not a series split.
Tyler Moore getting the at-bat, and Garcia misses up with a breaking ball.
Tyler picked up a pinch hit double yesterday. 10 pinch hits on the season. 4 doubles, a homer, and 7 RBIs.
Sharply hit to short. Galvis to Hernandez. Miami done in the 8th. Another hit, but just 2 on the night. Nothing fills. Gosh, that guy is kind of creepy.
Wow.
Look at those eyes. Now, look, when it's 8-0, we turn to insects and wildlife. And with more on that, here's Craig Minervini. Craig?
I'm glad that wasn't a creepy reference, Rich. Thank you very much. The case of the peregrine falcon we spent quite a bit telling you about during the doubleheader. It was above us when we got a chance to go up there in the game last night. It somehow made its way over here. had its section to itself. Now, during the game last night, late in the second game, there were two people from Pennsylvania Parks and Recreation here. They actually showed their ID to one of the security managers here, noticing that the bird really wasn't moving. And after looking at the ID, they were credentialed to work with wildlife. In fact, they work at a rehabilitation center for injured birds and species. They came over to the bird and noticed, one, it was very young, and two, could not fly, though the wings were not injured. So the two people from Parks and Recreation took the bird, and they're going to rehab it. They took it right here from the ballpark, right in this section, in fact. And they said it's emaciated, and because of that, just hadn't eaten, and that's why it couldn't fly. Didn't have the energy to fly. Those falcons, by the way, if you look it up, they can go as fast as been clocked at 242 miles per hour when they're diving for food. But this young falcon didn't have that ability and never learned how to hunt, so he was kind of trapped here at Citizens Bank Park. So that's the story. In better hands now, and hopefully on the way back to the wildlife.
That's a nice ending to that story. Bouncer to the left side. And Ty Kelly has bounced out to open up here in the 8th.
Sounds like the doubleheader threw him off.
Yes. Well, and that's why he was, you know, we saw him, I mean, literally 2 or 3 feet from those fans most of the game. He was eyeing a lot of the food that the fans were eating, but it's good to hear that he's in good hands. We'll get some nourishment, and hopefully he'll come back to another ball game when he's in better shape.
Good to see Harlan Garcia back on the mound. Reinstated after a trip to the disabled list.
Cesar Hernandez has tripled, doubled. He's 2 for 4. And Garcia misses in. Well, the attempt first for a perfect game, then for a no-hitter for Rich Hill ended in the bottom of the 10th inning. Josh Harrison, a walk-off homer. And so not only does he lose the perfect game, he loses the no-hitter, and he loses the game in the bottom of the 10th. 1-0, Pittsburgh wins it. And I'm telling you, somewhere in some story tomorrow, you're going to see Harvey Haddix of the Pittsburgh Pirates back in the late 50s, who had a similar fate. Pitches in, and Hernandez walked. And here is Freddie Galvis with 1 out and 1 on.
MLB.tv every night, every device. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live, plus get a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Galvis working on a nice night. RBI single, a walk. He scored twice. And Talise is out for a visit.
Getting a quick out. Struggled with his fastball command. Harlan Garcia has pitched with the Marlins August 11th versus Colorado.
Just reading up on the Harvey Haddix game, he threw 12 perfect innings and lost his perfect game in the 13th on an error by his third baseman.
Any mention of how many pitches he threw?
Looking for that. They didn't really keep pitch counts right then. His only mistake of the night is when Joe Adcock hit one out of the ballpark. But there was confusion on the bases. Henry Aaron thought the ball bounced out. He stopped. Adcock passed Aaron, and both men were ruled out, and so the game ended 1-0.
Change it from Garcia. Galvis.
But no, I'm looking for pitch count in that ball game. He went 13 innings, 1 hit, 1 run. It was unearned, and 8 strikeouts. And that ball game was in Milwaukee against the then Milwaukee Braves. 91, baseball changed the rules. A no-hitter would be refined or redefined as a game in which a pitcher completes the game of 9 innings or more without allowing a hit, meaning Haddock's 12 perfect innings no longer qualified.
Have to finish what you start.
Right. So they gave him a perfect game and they took it away. Drove up to his house, knocked on the door, and said, "Hey, we need that certificate. We need it back."
Right back. Rules have changed.
Nick Williams is 2 for 3.
Both those hits coming against Nicolino early in the ball game.
Had a strike 3 called. Garcia strikes out Williams. And the Marlins down to their last 3 outs. 8-0 Phillies. Southwest Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By the all-new Jeep Compass. And by your South Florida Honda dealers, hurry into the Summerbration sales event today. Jim's Cheesesteaks. And somewhere there's a great opportunity for a window cleaner there, right? Get that glass. That looks like Patrick O'Neill of Fox Sports West, doesn't it? Wonder what he's doing here in Philadelphia on this
He's having a cheesesteak.
warm August night. D. Gordon flips it. Ray's Hoskins is there and he makes the catch. Well, the beat goes on for the Phillies. Mark Leiter was outstanding in 7 innings. Gave up just the 1 hit. No runs yet for the Fish. Luis Garcia worked the 8th. He gave up the Tomas Talise hit. And here is Stanton. who is 0 for 3. Hector Neris last pitched this weekend against the Giants. He hit Buster Posey, who was none too pleased. The Giants accused Neris of throwing at Posey.
Even though the situation, I believe, in the ball game really didn't support the accusation. Regardless, Bochy stepped up and certainly supported his catcher. Kind of an interesting set of circumstances. Neris 15 for 18 in save opportunities and saves. Lugo, as I said, 15 for 18 on the season. He is their closer. 9 for 9 since end of June. Hasn't had a whole lot of opportunity. Of course, this is a non-save situation.
3-1. Bouncer short. Galvis. And Stanton on an 0 for 4 tonight. Bonefish Grill catch of the game. This was terrific. Great fish, great cocktails, great times. Head to Bonefish Grill. Watch the fan. Look at his right hand. He's got 2 baseballs and a Sharpie, and now he's got a 3rd.
That is showing off a lot of confidence in the glove game.
Yelich takes in, and the count is 2-0. Yelich in the air. It's 2-1. Jake Thompson right now tentatively scheduled to pitch tomorrow for the Phillies.
I thought I made it official, no?
No, you're not Pete McCann. Though, stick around on Marlins Live postgame. I'm sure it will be made official once this game is over. Yelich stays alive. Neris waits a little longer than Yelich is comfortable with. And Yelly, a liner to left. Hit it well. Hoskins makes the catch. And the Phillies win this ball game. So a 4-game series in which Miami got a doubleheader sweep yesterday. Now is 2-1 Marlins as the Phillies answer and get an 8-0 2-hit shutout from a trio of pitchers. We're back after this.